So we're live. Normally we do a little prep for the show, and I think there was a little technical glitches going down, and my afternoon's been like a tornado of things, culmination of things happening around me and requesting my attention. So it's been exciting. So the hair, Master Nigel was asking me about my hair before. What is my hair doing right now? I'm gonna just bring some realness to this stuff. So I got back from one meeting to come back into the temple here, and there was a crew of construction workers that were working here on stuff that was supposed to be done like 4 hours earlier. And I go to take a shower, and the water's off. And I'm like, they all want to have questions for me about different rooms. And it's really exciting because all the great stuff's happening. However, I've got 15, 20 minutes of time to get to this meeting room. So I jumped in the pool. That's what this hair means. I jumped in the pool. Paradise, trouble in paradise.
Oh, okay.
You have no running water. What do? You jump in the pool. So that's what the hair means.
Right.
That's what Change Angel would do, I think.
So I've seen many Ian here. And so whenever I see this hair where it's hanging down, he looks mellow. That's what it looks like. And when his hair is up like that, crazy hair, he's connected. He's channeling. And so this is mellow Ian today. So we'll see what we create with this version.
Yeah, we'll see what happens as the show goes on.
It dries out.
A great place to start the conversation. So everybody be on the lookout. Am I channeling or am I mellow?
We'll see. All right.
So, Master Nigel, just for everybody that's on the show, you may or may not know Master Nigel at this point in time. I worked with Master Nigel for 6 months every single day. I think there may have been 1 or 2 days that were skipped, but it was definitely made up for in subsequent days and hours. And he really helped bring to my awareness so much about my language, my thought process, and my belief system that just completely altered the way I saw reality. And in a way that was so incredibly empowering, like someone that could just hold light on me all the time and never surrender when I might be falling into my stories and my excuses and my avoidances and all of that stuff. So that's why he's Master Nigel. He's got a gift for this stuff, and he is an activator of the Change Angels. So when he agreed to do this podcast or this live feed, I was so amped up. My heart just started like pouring out with excitement. So I'm really grateful to have him on here. Please, everybody, give him a nice warm welcome, a nice hello. Welcome on to this. So thank you for being here, Master Nigel. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Master Ian. Thank you. I am grateful for Master Ian because it's a reciprocal benefit. I have a calling to serve a certain type of person on the planet, and that person is the kind of person that's called. They have something burning in them that means that they cannot exit the planet until they've made a difference. And they're rare. And one day Master Ian walked by me and my intuition told me that's one of them. And I remember literally reversing and saying, "Excuse me, are you an extraordinary person?" And he kind of looked at me with those eyes that he has. And I didn't see anything, but I knew that if he said something to me, I would know. I said, "Whisper something in my ear." I don't actually remember what you said, but my spirit said yes, and that's how we met. So I'm grateful that I met you, and that It's like Morpheus looking for Neo. I found Neo, and your calling is so great that it demands a lot, and I was able to serve. And now I have this opportunity to serve on a greater scale by working with Master Ian on this show. And we talked about our magic that we want to work together. So for me, it's exciting too. I have, I don't normally prepare like, oh, this is what we're going to do, because the magic unfolds when we connect. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to serve and to share with the audience of Master Ian's World.
Beautiful, beautiful. I embrace that and receive all of that. And everybody that's on, like one of the key things here that Master Nigel and I spoke about last episode was get involved with us, make some comments, make some noise, tell us
Yes,
what's going on, even agree, disagree, whatever it is, let us know what's coming up. Tell us what
yes,
you're thinking. It's one of Master Nigel's favorite questions. Was, what are you thinking? Or what is
right.
you thinking? And,
Well,
and that's actually Emily's favorite question.
yeah, I think to help the audience to get what Master Ian is saying is my work is called activation. So there, within the personal industry, personal development industry, there's motivation, transformation, and now there's activation. So my work isn't motivational, although people get motivated. It isn't intended to be transformational, although people get transformed. What it is intended is activational. And by activation means something gets stirred up, like a volcano. And so you might be sitting there watching Master Ian and Master Nigel talking, and then you just feel disturbed. And that would be a great sign if you're disrupted in some way. It could be anger, frustration, confusion, any disturbance in your matrix. That is a good sign that activation is taking place. And so the best thing to do with an activation is to let it out of your mouth. And since we can't really talk because Master Ian's going to upgrade to the full integration activational system, type it in. Let your fingers do the talking. And that content contains magic. Whatever comes out is to be magical. So we'll call it an activational show, Master Ian, where the audience is engaged and active.
So what's something that's disrupted Master Nigel recently?
Disrupted. Actually, I just got off a call with a change angel who I met 10 years ago. And when I met her, I was still in California, and I was actually stuck. I'd been doing my work for 10 years, and I had come to this plateau, and I couldn't figure out what I was going to do next. And I met her, and she was just beginning her work. And I noticed that her work was taking off and mine was plateauing. It's like I could see it coming. So I felt this disturbance, right? But I didn't know why I was stuck. And I remained stuck for quite a long time, like 5 years. And then she just called me today, just before the show. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working with, this guy, Master Ian. She goes, you're still stuck. Talking about disturbance. I'm like, what do you mean? So you were at this place when I met you 10 years ago. And I'm like, okay, there's some truth in that. And then she nailed it. She goes, you know what, Nigel? You don't have any products. I'm like, what? You don't have products that work without you. You have you, and And then she said something that disturbed me terribly. She goes, "You have a lot of great ideas and lots of systems and stuff, but when you're dead, they die with you." That is disturbing.
Wow, wow, wow. So yeah, that's so what did that feel like?
Um, I think she said this like 5 years ago. Like every 5 years, she shows up and whacks me. And that time, I was defensive. This time, I was like, she's speaking the truth. And I felt my, whatever it is that happens when you hear the truth that you don't want to hear it, I felt that. And then I said, no, it's true. And I backed her up. And I said, yeah, you're right. And as I was embracing the uncomfortable truth, I saw my patterns. I was like, oh man. She goes, yeah, you don't finish. That's what your problem is. You just don't finish. You start everything, but you don't finish. I'm like, yeah, I know. I have a lot of ideas, things downloaded. She goes, yeah, but you got to get one of them to market. I'm like, oh, I have a lot of tools. She goes, no, you have to get it from idea to market. And I remember Master Ian said a similar thing to me. Why don't you create a little product and that could solve somebody's problem? I'm like, yeah, Master Ian said that to me too. So, when the truth starts coming at you, at me, from different angles, I surrender. So I said, yes, it's true. So I'm just confessing now, Master Ian. And she's like, so I heard myself do my usual defense. Well, I like solving big issues. My clients, I'm like a surgeon, man. These tools, I have a ton of tools. I don't want to be fixing wounds and bruises when I could be doing a heart surgery. Because, but you can't get to the mountaintop unless you're sustainable. And these little products sustain you. Yikes. Does that make sense? The truth is very disturbing.
Yeah, the truth. Yeah, I think it was you that said to me first was the truth that will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off. And I think there's one of the things that I heard that Master Nigel illustrated about being in this change angel sphere. Like one of the characteristics is at some point in their existence, they weren't aware of how their belief system structure, and they weren't aware of the programs that was running in their mind. So they would get defensive, and that defensive at this rough is like, oh, that's the goal to look at here. Like, what's going on? And now instead of in this new iteration, instead of getting defensive, you actually created an agreement and created new possibilities as a result in this collaboration and the willingness to investigate those beliefs or those programs and be aware of them. Like Master Nigel is a master at bringing those things to light. He's got so many methodologies for it. So he's actually walking his teachings. He's practicing what he shared, a revelation.
Well, one thing I must say is that I'm usually the guy delivering the truth, right? Disrupting somebody else's matrix. And I could get away with that because there's not a lot of people, that it's dangerous because you can, think that you're okay because everybody around you, you're helping them. And then somebody, and I think everybody has been saying the same thing, but this change angel, she hit hard, pow. And I'm like, oh, this is what it's like on the receiving end. And I saw what I teach when I'm working with someone. I say, listen, I know your defense is going to go up, right? And I actually allow it to go up, and then I will just keep my offensive up because I know it has to get through. The truth has to get through. So I was aware that my defenses went up right away, and I was like, oh, my defense is up. I need to let them down, get them down. And that was the difference, is that if there's a gift here to share, is to practice noticing my defense and acknowledging that I'm feeling my shields go up. Like, how dare she tell me stuff that I believe in? But as long as I'm aware of it, I have a choice to take it down. And that's where I would say that's the advanced practice, is to at least acknowledge it and then choose to bring it down to see what happens.
Absolutely. And another thing that she's doing here is illustrating as being a change angel is she's not willing to compromise her truth.
Exactly.
She's sharing the truth as she sees it with you, shining light on that. So how many people in the general population, how many people do you run across in a given year or something like that? Give me some metric that are like willing to just speak their truth no matter the consequence.
Well, I know it's small, right? And I usually just count how many change angels do I meet. And it's on average 1 in 1,000, unless I'm in this kind of environment, Master Ian, where he seemed to have curated a few of them. So, but in general, in the general normal world, it's about 1 in 1,000. But now I'm looking at it. What's happened is the truth is I think I've mentioned it. The truth is at the core, like a volcano.
Yeah, I'm going to pause you to just tell everybody that's watching, what percentage of people do you think speak the truth? Like 100% the truth. Like, will even tell you when you have food in your teeth, or be anything. Like they speak the truth, or the hard stuff. What percentage of people do you think it is that are willing to say the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? And back to you, Nigel.
Oh, are you getting a response on that?
They'll flow in. It'll take a moment.
All right, great. Yeah, it's my experience is not normal to speak the truth. And the reason that I get is like, well, I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, Nigel. You know, I as if they're saying, I know that you can't handle the truth. You're going to get upset. And the truth is going to hurt. Like if you bottle up a volcano and then you suddenly release it, it does a lot of destruction on the way out. It upsets a lot of things. And for some reason, the desire for comfort has is taken precedent. People like to be comfortable and they don't like to disturb another person's comfort. Unfortunately, the truth is the exact opposite. Speaking it or hearing it is a disruptive experience. And the culture that I live in is saying, oh, it's not polite to disturb someone's comfort. So I think that everybody in the world knows the truth and is able to handle the truth, but society has made an agreement that comfort is more important than discomfort. That's
like, mind your manners, like that
yes.
thing, like yeah. So I mean, there's so many ways to look at it, because there is a high propensity of people that speaking their truth. I think people speak the truth maybe 80% of the time. They might be like, "This is
right.
Is this water in here? Yes, this is water in here." And they're speaking the truth. But how the number of people that will be willing to say, "Oh yes, I poisoned your water before serving it to you," and actually be able to say that, like, would be a very low amount if actually asked. So
right.
It's a matter of the willingness to speak the truth 100% of the time, because that small amount, that very tiny amount, the smallest untruths, end up creating something and feeling something.
Yes. So the thing is, the truth, whenever it's been withheld for any particular time, once it comes out, it has to break the thing that's holding it in. And that breaking of whatever the paradigm is, the agreement is a disturbing feeling. And so people have learned not to disturb that thing, the belief, the agreement, the culture, any form of disturbance is perceived as disharmony. Now,
And people are chastised for it at a young age. Right?
yes,
So
early,
comments actually rolling in saying our culture is to be people pleasers, and very much so. It's like just it's domesticated, it's docile. Just respect authority, keep your head down, stay in your lane, and
now,
if you so it's happened to maybe almost bump into somebody, make sure you apologize,
right,
even though it might be completely
good
their
for them. Now, the thing is, the way I'm describing it, at least the way I'm hearing Master Ian describing it, I'm actually reinforcing it. When I say the culture is this way, I am actually supporting the culture. This brings us up to the power of words, right? This is
yeah.
where the real magic happens. And I think this is where we go slightly below the matrix, like, because the word is, IS, that two-letter word, makes it so.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say the culture, our culture is like that, or people are, is and are, I am actually making it, supporting it. Now I can start to break it, just shake it up a little bit by saying it appears that the culture is this way. Just that one insertion, it appears that the culture is this way, puts a question mark in the matrix. And as soon as I question anything that is, I begin to weaken the grip that it has. And so the child that says, "Why, mommy? Why is it that we, why do we have to apologize when we bump into somebody?" That child is beginning to crack the matrix, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's very much so back to that nomenclature and the power of words and actually creating into existence. I think actually we talked previously about J.R.R. Tolkien and angels singing matter into existence, beings into existence.
Yes,
That
yes,
was actually what created the first matter, is this song of these angels.
exactly.
And it's so interesting how underestimated it was for me in a long time in my life of how powerful my words were.
Right.
And when I started actually getting a good foothold on this, I started realizing that what I was saying was becoming my reality consistently
Yeah.
time and time again.
Right.
And then it goes to like a level of this, like society is a certain way. It's a
Right.
huge belief that I have.
Right.
And for me to disrupt that belief in my reality, adding a word like it appears
Appears.
or may be,
Yeah.
and just
That's
some
it.
elements of doubt, using
Exactly.
as a way to disrupt my own belief in a gentle way. Because the truth
Yeah.
is, the moment I say, you know what, actually, everybody I meet from here on out is going to tell me the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And when I can believe that to be true 100%, guess what? My faith is now going to create that as a reality. So maybe everybody
Right.
can jump in an agreement with that. Who's on board right now? Comment,
Right.
you on board to agree with me that everybody from now on, 100% of the population is going to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help them, God, themselves.
Yeah. Now, related to that, there's a thing called reality agreement. The word agreement is what needs to be looked at. So yes, Master Ian is in his little bubble. The world appears that way, right? And in his world there is no reality because he hasn't said that it is. Unfortunately, 97% of the population around him agree. So a change angel is one who sees the world differently and stands alone, about 1% or 0.1%, and says, I know you all think it is, but I say it appears to be. And they're like, right, okay, we know you're crazy. You're out there, right? We agree that it is, therefore it is. You are just crazy. The change angel's job is to stand so powerful in the truth that this 97% comes over here and agrees with the change angel. That is the work of the change angel, and that has to happen without the angel getting shot or put in a madhouse. You with me? Like, it's crazy standing out here. And then to move all these people over here without getting killed is the assignment.
I think about it all the time with, like, the perfect example, I think, is the Declaration of Independence. Right? These men got together, they wrote out a declaration and said, this is now true. We are now a sovereign nation. We declare ourselves free.
Right.
And then they made an agreement and they put pen to paper, and they
right.
would have been assassinated.
Exactly. So agreement is what created this country. Agreement is that we're free. Unfortunately, there's agreement about limitations. And the change angel's job is to break those agreements. Where's Master Ian?
Letting the cat out. You're on the main screen, so you can keep talking about.
Yeah. So the work that's before us as change angels is disrupting agreements, creating new ones, and getting new agreements about the truth. Right? So one of the agreement that's over here in the world is like, don't tell the truth. It's not a good idea, Nigel. You can't just go around speaking the truth. You'll make people uncomfortable. And who knows what will happen. And so I hear that. How do I persuade them? How do I shift their perspective to mine? That is work. That is without getting shot. Key word is don't get shot. How do you feel about that, Master?
I think I have a little bit different thinking about the don't get shot.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, for me, it's being able to be effective and be able to actually create that ripple. And for me to be attached to a specific outcome on how that happens, then that would maybe lessen the impact. So like Martin Luther King, for example.
He got shot.
Yeah, John F. Kennedy.
Shot.
And guess what? They made a huge impact.
Yes.
Maybe they would have done more if they were here longer. I don't know.
Well, Martin had a plan. Yeah, definitely had intentions. Now, the reason I bring this up, and I think what I'm hearing you say is that I don't think about whether I'm going to be shot or not. I just going to disturb the matrix until the results happen, right? The reason I bring that up is because I've had this calling since I was a child. I knew what I had to do. But everybody that I looked ahead that did it, Jesus Christ, Martin, Malcolm, everybody got shot. And I was like, I don't think I want to get shot. So I went into hiding. I'm sorry. I'm not getting shot. I'm just going to pretend I'm normal like everybody else. And so I stayed below the radar for as long as I could because I would have got shot. I mean, I thought I would get shot. I had an agreement around that. So, and then the reason I bring it up is because I met a guy very recently here on Messenger, and it was like literally another Neo. And we're talking just like this, and he's like, man, I don't want to get shot. And he had the same list as me. I don't know whether it's a sort of black thing because all the black change angels got shot in the 50s and 60s, right? How dare you rise up and talk about letting black people get free? How dare, shoot him. right? So that I notice in my culture that those that have the calling have that as a concern. So they literally dumb down, and I dumb down. So part of my mission, why Morpheus fits, right, the role of Morpheus, is because Neo was getting at, shot at, and Morpheus showed him how not to get shot. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be bullets flying, but listen, man, you're too important to be shot. Ian, that's how I feel about you, man. You're too important to get hit. So we got to work you out so that you.
True as a metaphor too, because shot doesn't necessarily mean shot dead in the streets. It can be like terminated from a certain relationship where you could have had more impact had you just bit your tongue for a little longer. And then that's the conundrum around the truth topic, right?
Well, the thing is, I'm not proposing to hold your tongue. What I've concluded, meaning I have resolved, is that in the Matrix, Neo started seeing the bullets coming. And what I think happened is that he realized that it was his words that pressed the trigger. So now I anticipate the incoming. I'm like, I know they're going to shoot in a minute, so I'm going to say this word and then do this immediately because I know it's incoming. So that's what I mean by not getting shot. I mean, don't get hit because it's going to hurt. And yes, you're going to get wounded, but there is a way of not getting wounded. So I'm actually saying, do the work and learn how to anticipate. I think the word is preempt. Be preemptive, not defensive. Know that there will be a bullet coming after you say this word. People are going to get angry. Therefore, there's going to be a reaction. Anticipate the defense. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think when we first started working together, you used it as like somebody spitting daggers.
Yes.
And it's like jujitsu. And I started being able to realize that when I would say something or bring up certain things, that the next thing was going to happen. And like all 4 steps. So how could I change the alchemy of the words?
Yes.
I could create a different circumstance and condition.
Well, the other thing related to that, Master Ian, is that the thing that I'm seeing, the bullets coming at me, like the daggers, is their programmed response. It's not a natural human thing to respond like that to the truth. In the old days, you would go pay to get the truth. Now you say the truth to someone, they start shooting. So what I've learned is, Nigel, that's just hazard. Like, what do you call that? Hazards of the job. People are gonna. You're a doctor, and you inject the patient to heal them, and they start no. They react. You don't trip on that. You're like, the patient is reacting to the needle.
And I have to say, I got to pause you because I experienced this firsthand. I'm going to just say this, and then I want to read some comments because we get some really good gems here. I experienced this firsthand. There was definitely times where I was like, who the hell does this guy think he is? I just want to hang up the phone on him and never talk to him ever again. There was definitely a few conversations where voices were raised, and he always held true. He always held true to his truth and stayed in that perspective. And it's just amazing because he could see it as, okay, these are the programs that are just unloading on me, and didn't take that stuff personal. And I really appreciated that about him. So you're not responding. No, you're not responding because I got to read some comments because people are
got it.
And we haven't wrote back. So you got anything? Definitely jump in here. One person, I think it was Elisa, that wrote when we were talking about not having your product. She wrote a really good perspective. I think it's worth looking at. If you're a teacher, your teachings carry on. So everything that I've gotten from working with Master Nigel and integrated into my life, that's going to be taught to my son.
Repeat that. I didn't hear it.
I said that everything that, well, I'll go from the beginning. If you're a teacher, your teachings carry on. So everything
Yes.
that Master Nigel shared with me, and everything he's engineered around this, and these systems and ways of measuring, calibrating, and distinctions that come from all of this, and we'll get to that in subsequent episodes, to more of the tools, I'm sure. I'm teaching, I share this with Emily, and she latches onto it. Amnon latches onto it. I'm going to have my children, right? My son's coming into this world. He's going to be like,
congratulations.
Yeah, so exciting. And I'm so excited to be at this place, be who I am, speak the way I do, and be able to bring a child into this world. Because 2 years ago, I would have created a nightmare. And now it's like, I see the divinity. I'm there. So maybe take that for some food for thought.
Sorry, I didn't hear who was it that gave the feedback? I missed that. My free screen froze when you were reading the feedback from that person.
Oh, I think it was Elisa.
It's about the product. Elisa, about the product. What did she say?
No, when you were talking about the product, and
yeah,
and that if you died, no product to leave behind, what goes with you. She was saying, actually, your work is already going to live on for eternity.
Yeah. Yes. So just my intent is to leave a legacy. All change angels are here. In fact, if I can give an analogy, right? I think people will enjoy this one, right? So, and I used it on the same lady, and then she used it back on me. So anyway, this is how I see it, Master Ian. I'll just use Master Ian as an example. So Master Ian, it's clear that you're going to leave this planet and go back to base, right? Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And just before you enter back into the compound of heaven, there's going to be a survey angel at the gate, checking you in. It's like, oh, let's see if you're on the list. Oh yeah, Master Ian. And they're like, Master Ian, did you do anything great on the planet? And like, by the way, Master Ian, did you do anything great on the planet before you returned? This is a test. I mean, it's like a working example. The answer is yes, Master Ian. I think you did. All right.
I'm kind of confused at the whole construct of it. Like, the idea that there's a survey or anybody asking me any questions, like I've already been there. I've already died. I've already experienced.
No, it has a purpose.
Okay, I'll play along. So
play along. Yeah.
I've done so many great things.
You're back, so you're back already. Okay. Now, Master Ian, we know that you have done stuff, but we have a special survey angel that's going to go and review the planet to check if what you say you have done. Well, just to check what you say you've done. So now what should we put on the checklist of the survey angel? Master Ian?
So what are the things that
they're going to find? Yeah.
Well, I kind of feel I really just feel like it doesn't matter. None of it matters. I'm like at the place, like it's really none of it matters. Like this is
whom though?
In the grand scheme of things. This is
so here's where,
like, did you experience life to the fullest? Did you experience life to the fullest? That would be the thing on the checklist.
Very good. So yes, and then the question is, how many people did you impact?
Okay. So that would be a question on the exam
Did you what you're saying is you impacted people living to the fullest, and then we're like, did you impact one person or 100,000, the whole population of the planet? Huh?
So how many people have I impacted? Is that
we got to do a survey, man. We're going to check them all out.
300,000.
300. Okay. Thank you very much. Stay right here. Survey angel dispatched. And now the survey angel goes to Earth and says, okay, apparently he worked out in Costa Rica region, 300,000 people, interviewed a few hundred people. Hey, how did Master Ian impact you? Oh my God, man, I'm living my life to the, oh good, check. What else? Right. And literally the survey angel goes and checks and says, yep, what you said is true. Let him in. Now, the purpose of that exercise is the legacy conversation. What legacy am I going to live, and how will I feel knowing that I lived a full life and left something behind? And I guess that's what that lady made me think about, is like, if I died today and I'm back at base, how would the world have changed, and who would claim that I impacted their world? How many? And like, oh, I touched Ian. That's it, Nigel? After all this time, you touch one?
Well, it might be one, and one that's so impactful. It only needs to be one. It doesn't. The only thing,
Well, I agree. So
oh,
my theory, my method for me, my fulfillment is saying I touched one change angel who touched 1,000. So that's how I see my leverage, is if I can find one person who is called to serve 1,000, and I pour everything into that one person, mission accomplished for me, because I know that it's going to be a ripple effect. And that's literally how I saw it. Now, she was looking at it like, Nigel, yeah, you can do one client or you can do 1,000. She's looking at it from a sustainable point of view, and I'm looking at it from a pure legacy. If I can transfer all my gifts to this change angel, and this change angel transfer all their gifts to every person they touch, mission is accomplished, and it's going to live on beyond me. So I told that story for.
yeah, I completely agree, and here we are doing this together.
Exactly.
Together, making this, having some kind of impact on whoever comes and joins this, and there's going to be lots of meat to come. The more people interact, like it's great.
Right.
The more others interact, the more the consciousness I know of the audience. And
Right.
when I see something like what Elisa wrote, it was just a reminder to me of how awake that this audience is. Like, she already created a new belief around it. Like, this is a perspective to hold. That's already happened. I've already impacted millions. It's
good.
already happened. And I thought it was great to bring to light. And then another person wrote, I find that when I speak my whole truth and share that I'm doing so, I end up experiencing that same truth and transparency in return. So who I see is who I be.
Yes. Now that is what the real impact is, right? That if everyone did that, then unity would occur in a very short period of time. Where we have an issue is getting to that point. The transition from not telling the truth to telling the truth is what causes the disturbance in the matrix. If I'm used to living a lie or believing in a lie, and then suddenly somebody comes and tells me, man, you've been living a lie, I'm going to get royally upset. And the person that's about to tell me the truth, they're like, oh, I'm not sure if Nigel can handle the truth. He's going to get royally upset. Maybe I should just leave him in his ignorance. And that is the problem. If we leave people in their ignorance, then that illusion sticks around for a long time. And so the change angel has to be courageous enough to say, I know Nigel's going to get upset, and he's going to have a major reaction when I tell him the truth. But if I don't tell him the truth, the ignorance will perpetuate for generations. And Nigel will pass it down to his children and say, children, don't get people upset. You just keep the truth to yourself. I've got to disrupt that as a change angel and say no. And yes, there's going to be bullets from Nigel, but I need to do my matrix.
Absolutely, and it works both ways. So when I'm being dishonest, then other people pick up on it in the vibration of it, and they're also dishonest. So like vibrations attract like vibrations.
Until a change angel disrupts it. That's the thing. That's what our work is disrupt it, and people they're like, Nigel, you're disrupting my relationship, man. I was getting on with quite well with my friend. We were both lying, and now you disrupted that. We need to get rid of you. You're the problem. I'm like, you see, that's what I meant by
You're the problem, right?
yeah.
Of course.
All right.
You disrupted the flow, the ease of everything.
I wanted to loop back to last week, Matthew, and you
Yeah.
asked me to describe the levels. Yes? And
Yeah.
I did more or less one of them, level 7, and then I jumped to level 3. And then Matthew was like, look, can you give me the levels of light? And I told a long story. And so I said, you know what we can do is talk about a level every time. So the level that this conversation fits in is called level 3, where people are avoiding the truth, right? I live in an illusion and don't know I'm in an illusion. And a level 7 or a level 6, anyone that's woken up is above a 3. So anyone that thinks that the world they're living is the truth without any questions, they just function. This normal, that word normal, is level 3. And as soon as someone disrupts it, whether by saying something different or asking a question, and the person starts to think, they're automatically at level 4 or 4.0. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it's what happens in my experience at that level 3. It's like, and this is putting levels on it. So like
yes.
just pretend that we're that's real too.
Right. It's a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool, illustration.
Yeah.
I asked somebody today how he was enjoying being in Costa Rica. And his response was, it's been real productive.
Mm.
And it was the first time I ever heard that with somebody coming to Costa Rica or somebody in Costa Rica. It's not about being productive here. And I think that's like a very kind of in the matrixy thing. So I might use that word at a higher level of awareness. However, it's right in that like code for like I'm busy. I've been really busy would probably be a level 3 way of saying I'm being productive. Productive might be a level 4 kind of saying it.
What came to me as you were saying that is, there's nature all around us here. There's so much spiritual aliveness. And this person is in their matrix box talking about they're busy. That's what came to me. I don't know what you meant, but it would be like that's unconsciousness of the environment there.
Absolutely. Here we're sitting in the jungle. It's 75 degrees, hanging out with really great people, just like catching up on whatever we want, nothing tying to us, like living heaven on earth, in heaven on earth. And when it comes, instead of being something about like who he was showing up as, or what his life experience was, or something he discovered about himself. And that's kind of what the conversations end up stemming to, and what for the people I'm around is like always kind of shining that mirror, and shining light on whatever it is, and just being there and being present. And when it's like busy is like the opposite of presence.
Right. Now, I think, from my experience, Master Ian, I think you have forgotten what level 3 is about. I think like this guy doesn't remember. I'm in Miami, and level 3 is called traffic, right? At 9 a.m.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yes,
oh yeah, I remember seeing people doing that and being like, "What's going on?" And we're being
routine.
What? oh, why did I do this at 9 o'clock in the morning? Yeah.
Right.
You're not having a stoplight.
And then, yeah, and the stop light says red, and their foot touches the brakes automatically. And then it says green, and they all move according to the flow of the sheep, right? And then get in the office and however they get in, and they work the clock, and then 5 p.m. jump back in the traffic, and it's just automatic. And the TV comes on, and everything is clockwork. Do you remember that?
Somebody today actually said to me, I was so confused because I was offering her a job as a private chef, and she's like, just make sure you give me 2 weeks notice because I have to ask for time off. I'm
There
like,
you go, time.
you have to ask for permission to like go somewhere different on Friday?
Yeah.
What?
Now, that is 97% of the population we just described. And it takes agreement to do that. And 90% of it is reactive. There is no thinking happening from morning till night till morning, like 7 days a week. And even when weekend comes, it's still on autopilot. So that's level 3. And that's what it's like. No, I have a normal life and I have a normal job and I have a normal 9 to 5, right? It's seriously serious.
I'm still, yeah, it's really real. It feels really real. It's seriously serious. Like, it's hard out there.
And the thing about it, Master Ian, it's so normal that nobody questions it until they meet a Master Ian, you see? I think when they look at you, they're like, this guy's weird.
Yeah.
Why is he wandering around in the day, sitting at a beach, meditating with a cat? Right? What kind of life is that? Clearly, he's out of his mind, right? And so this is where the language comes in now. I don't have a choice. I have to go to work.
Yeah.
That's the level 3 language. And so the thing is, when I was working Master Ian, I never had a chance to do that because you are way above 3. But the rest of the planet is like that. That's their conversation. Nigel, yeah, what you're saying sounds interesting, but man, you're not realistic.
Yeah, sounds nice, but that's not realistic. Yeah, it's
not realistic.
Yeah.
And what they forgot is reality is spoken into existence. We don't look at reality to decide what we're going to do. We create a new one. But they're like, no, that's how it is, man. And then they say it is, and all they're doing is
that way. It perpetuates.
Exactly. So
unconsciously, because it happens regardless. At every single level, what I speak becomes my reality.
Now,
with the emotion, belief.
Just to say that Master Ian is a high level in terms of the scale. To be able to say whatever I speak is my reality, you can't be a 3 and say that. Because a 3 person at level 3 consciousness does not realize that what they're speaking is their reality. They just say, I'm just talking, man. I'm just talking. You're just talking.
It's so funny how, like, I've really literally have forgotten. And even though I think I remember, like, it's still like, I'm in such a different world. Like, it's such a different paradigm than someone that would be in that, like, why I don't even get why they would be in that way.
Right.
Somebody, one of my friends said to me the other day, he's like, you've always been such a free spirit. I should have been with you about something. And I never considered that before, that I was a free spirit. And then now, even until I'm saying it out loud, like, to think about what that means to be free spirited, to be a free spirit.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah, like, fuck yeah, heaven yeah. Like, of course I'm going to be a free spirit.
Right. Now look at that. It makes a lot of sense to you, right?
Yeah.
What else is there? Why would anyone not be free? And yet, 97% has no concept of what you just said. The word free is a strange word. And spirit is woo-woo, just for the info. Woo-woo.
Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with here. Right.
Unless you're buying alcohol, then you're buying spirits, right?
Spirit, which is to free your mind, by the way.
Or inject you with spirits so that you go a little nutty.
Yeah, well, literally get out of your mind. But otherwise, we're sober and we're in the reality, right? Now,
this is making me think about this word crazy before.
Thank you.
And people tell me I'm crazy, and actually I'll say absolutely. Like, for sure, you can call me crazy. The word crazy actually comes from the word fractured. And then looking at the word fractured, it actually comes from the word fractal. And this is all fractals of light.
Right.
We're just these fractures of light that are connected to the one giant unity that we all really are. So every single person is a fracture of that light, that essence of consciousness, the essence of God. So when I'm being called crazy, it's actually like really aligned with the truth.
Now, this brings back to the scale of, I think I posted a link today, right, on that, where people can go look at it. Now, in this dialogue, in this gathering, I'm assuming that everybody that's watching this conversation is way above level 3.
I would absolutely concur with that. And like looking at even the comments, like last one here is like, how people feel about me is none of my business. I live my truth every day.
Right.
With awareness, human behavior has been domesticated and prostituted up until now, up until a moment ago.
Domesticated.
Huh? Or it might appear that it has been.
Yeah, so I like that word domesticated. It means the freedom of the wild has been taken out. And you conform to the boundaries of the domicile, right?
Humans are like more domesticated than dogs, and they don't even know it, just like dogs don't.
Welcome to level 3, domesticated without awareness. Now, this is where the change angel comes in again. So with that awareness that human beings are really angels dumbed down, when I'm aware of that, do I leave that alone and say, well, you know, that's their problem? Or do I have compassion and say, wow, I got to get in there and set them free? Or do I say, well, you know, they can't hear me anyway, so let me speak to those who can hear me, like this audience? This is a big dilemma for a change angel. The real problem is people sleeping, and yet the people sleeping can't hear me, and there are people who are more awake that can hear me. Should I spend my energy there, or should I? What do you think, Master Ian? What are your thoughts?
So I wrestled with this quite a bit prior, and I did stuff on my own personal and my own Facebook page and a Facebook group and Instagram on a thing called Live Me. I did public speaking. Like how do I get this stuff out? Like, how do I share this with people? And quite honestly, what keeps going, like coming back for me, is the person that's standing before me at any given time is the most important person in the world. So to just be sure and be cognizant that no matter who it is, I'm staying in this way of being and setting an example and being that role like of that individual that is calm, that is present, that is aware, that's consciously creating the alchemy and dissecting it. So like I see the daggers being thrown before I speak. So I consciously play with how I'm going to say whatever I'm going to say to deliver it in this alchemy that kind of like Jedi mind tricks. And sometimes it like works like a charm, and other times it's like it pisses people off and you go to war. So I'm playing with that. So in terms of how to reach the people, I'm kind of just being guided by whatever in front of me. For me, it's more about just practicing, making every single moment my teacher.
Right.
So long as I remember. So there's
Fair
times where
enough.
I'm distracted. Also.
What I it's been a very what's that word? Present thing for me a lot in my life. Mainly because in a lot of the places, communities where I grew up, the people are exactly what I just described, level 3, and I am out there. I'm the out there guy, but I'm living in the matrix, and I'm thinking, God, why do you put me here, man? Why can't I just hang out with people like Ian? I don't have this problem. They get me, I get them, fine, but you put me here in this density where. So then the answer that's come to me is like, because there is a solution and it's your job to reveal it. And what I realize is that in being placed in this dense place, I've had to study the actual matrix itself for my own survival. And in looking at it very carefully, I realized that the density in the mind is created by words. Literally, it's words that create this layer of density. And that's how I came up with the virus list, which we can share, at the end of the words that create that density, right?
I think we gotta do a whole show on that next week.
Yeah, I
Go
just wanted to
through these words.
touch
Oh
it.
my gosh.
And so when you pay attention to this, what we're arbitrarily defining as level 3 consciousness, what you can see is the language is specifically dense with virus. And then I actually started, when I discovered it, I was like, whoa, did I just discover something? I wasn't sure, so I had to experiment. And so because of my work, I work in different levels of consciousness. I work in communities where it's totally dense, and then I work in like middle class, professional. Then I work with heads of government, you know what I mean, like millionaires and billionaires, where the consciousness grid is different. And I noticed that the vocabulary was different. And then I discovered this amazing thing, which I want to share so that the audience can go and start looking, right? We can go look. And that there are 4 versions of the English language, Master Ian. Have I shared that one?
No.
Oh, I did?
No.
English is the language we're speaking in America here. Yes, go ahead.
Remember it. Yeah. Okay.
Share whatever you think you remember.
What I'm thinking. All right. So, and fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
So there's like the commoner's English. There's the queen's English. Like the commoner's English or the pleb's English, the queen's English, the queen class.
Yes. Now look at this. This is worth considering, and I'm hope it's okay to provoke the audience to think about stuff, so that next time when we come back, we're like, "Whoa, man, I had to look." So America is distorted, but it's a huge matrix. But it was not created here in America. It was created in England, the British Empire. This is an extension of it. And I always wondered how such a tiny little country could rule 3/5 of the planet so well. They don't have enough army to do that. And what I saw is that whenever the British Empire invaded a country, the first thing they did was change the language. Have you noticed?
Yes.
I don't care what. If you go to India, they have to speak English. Most of Africa speaks English. African Americans speak English. They don't even know what their native tongue is, right? But we do speak English. Now, first clue, right? Language change. And then when you actually go to England, you see that there's a hierarchy of classes. Notice the word class. What is a class? It's a room where you program people. School.
It's a level.
It creates levels.
Yes.
But a class is like a collection of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in class A and you're in class B. First class versus second class on the plane. It's just right, it's just collection. But what happens is the treatment is different in the different classes. So in England, they actually have a word called working class, middle class, professional class, ruling class. Look at that. And in England, you judge a person's class by how they speak. And when I was growing up, when I came to England, I grew up in Jamaica, and as soon as I arrived in England, my dad said, Nigel, don't speak like the common class. And he basically exposed me and my sisters to the ruling class. So we went to Buckingham Palace and we were hanging out in the wealthy, whatever the prime minister's car was, my dad bought that. And so he exposed his children to the ruling class. And the school system is geared up for that. And so when I was at school, they had different classes, or different classes for different classes. And so there are people who are being programmed to go out and get a job, a job, and you're called working class. And then there's professional class, where you're a doctor, lawyer, engineer. And if you notice, they have a special language. All the professional services have their own languages, and it takes 7 years or 5 to 7 years to learn it. So when they said, okay, Ian, I see you're going to Cambridge, they wouldn't say, what are you studying? They'd say, what are you reading? I'm Ian Gray, I'm reading medicine. I'm Ian Gray, I'm reading law. Why is it that you're reading it? Language.
So interesting. So interesting. I'm so excited to dive into this next week.
Right.
And I'd love to like carry on more and more about this tonight. And I have an appointment in about 20 minutes.
All right.
And I think it's really, really potent stuff. Anybody listening, watching, let us know what do you think about language? Like, what language class do you think you were brought up in?
Right.
Have you seen these discrepancies, these differences?
Right.
Hear those comments. It's looking at this stuff is so important. I can't wait till you have a product.
And just to just to summarize it, level 3 in this country is working class. You've heard of those people, right? Mm-hmm. And then above the working class is the professional classes, the doctors, the lawyers. And then there's a special class that's professional, but they're next to the ruling classes. So I'm just going to skip them for a minute and go to the ruling classes. In England, it's very clear who the ruling class is because they have titles. Her Majesty, Duke of Wellington, they have titles, long titles, and they speak Latin. Those people have a different language than the rest of the people. This one is the one that's special. Between the professional class and the ruling class, there's a special class that is definitely worth checking out. And I'll tell you what they're called, the legal class. Lawyers, attorneys, barristers. And guess what they become? Politicians. What must a politician be good at? What qualifies? Look at most presidents, and you'll see their entry was law.
Speaking. You gotta be great at language.
And with this one, they can set you free or lock you up. You need an attorney. What's his name? OJ. Remember?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He was set free by an attorney. Whether he was guilty or not, it was his attorney that set him free. So this class here protects this class and governs this set. And then now you have to look at how many people are in this class here and how easy is it to get into that legal class. It's the access to government. It's just very interesting. And what is it that government do? Make up words that determine what these guys do.
And what we're doing here is actually a whole new version of English, actually. And I might say it creates a class that transcends all of these.
It's what we're doing is examining the elements of all classes so that we're not bound by a class. The change angel can transcend any class they like because they know the words that make these things up and they're not bound by them. We're conscious of a word. We choose a word. So that's why now we can go at level 3 and hang out or at level 7 and hang out. Either way, we know we can transmute or and it's called acting, Master Ian. You know you're great at that. So that's where I meant by this is the skill set now that the change angel has to master. The thing that creates reality is words. And we got to know that there's a different reality when you're ruling the president of the United States. Your reality is not the same as Johnny struggling on the street. You with me? But pay attention to the language of the president versus the language of Johnny. So I just want to touch on that, and it does link nicely into level 3 versus level 7 or level 6, right? They're related. And so I hope that stimulated something, Master Ian.
I know I'm beaming. I'm excited. It's always just so great to chat with you and then remember these pieces and thinking about them holistically in my life right now.
Right.
I've really integrated so much of this in my way of being that so it's just like it comes natural. At first it was challenging to figure it out.
Right. So as far as homework that people could do to help us to have a more engaging next session is to check out the 7 levels that's posted in my Evolved Life. Yes?
Yeah.
Go there and it's a video. And then what was the other thing that we wanted them to do?
Would you like to share the virus list?
Yeah, I'm gonna post. I'm creating a link for that, so I'll post it on my Evolved Life. Yes, so I'm gonna share that.
And study language. Go look at the 4 different types of the English language.
Just pay attention now. In England, it's much easier because they just describe people by their class. Oh, so middle class, so working class, so this class. Here in America, they're really just 2 classes that are visible. Or 3. The legal class is heavy here, and the ruling class I call billionaires, Master Ian, and the working class are in traffic right now, right? So just pay attention. That's our job, is to be observant and notice things, not judge things, but just notice them.
Yeah. Just listen to what they're talking about and the words that are being used.
Yeah. And the virus list will help people to see visually what words are being spoken.
Beautiful. Well, thank you everybody for joining in today. I'm so incredibly grateful. Thank you, Master Nigel, for sharing your wisdom and being on here in Evolved Life. And I'm so excited. Soon, this guy is coming to Costa Rica. He's coming to visit. So, speaking into existence. Have a great day, everybody. Great night, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.